Hello, Internet. I am the Murder Unicorn, and I am back with more Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. I think that. So, there was a thing on the forum a while ago called the You Challenge, in which you were supposed to create a character based on yourself and then play the game. I don't know that we're necessarily going to play this character, but I am going to create the character based on myself, and I'm going to save the character so that maybe in the future we will come back and we will play as ourselves. So we're going to go to custom character, and we're just going to plop it on the tutorial world, which is something I'm working on for another series. We're not actually going to play this character, we're just going to save this character. We're going to go free form, of course, because we want points to do everything that we need to do. I guess evacuee is just fine for the scenario. None of these necessarily fit me. I don't believe I'm currently trapped inside of a lab or prison. And I don't think my house is on fire or was in a helicopter crash, etc. So we're just going to go with the evac shelter. And you know what? We're just going to leave it as survivor because we're going to change everything as we go. If I had to pick one that fits me, there's probably nothing that fits me. Probably nothing writer related. Is there an otaku? I guess you could argue I'm an otaku. I'm a fan of anime. So we'll go with that one, I guess. We'll go over to traits, and we're going to look through... well, let's pick our appearance. So right now I have some stubble. Hair is brown and relatively short at the moment. Facial hair was just the stubble, as we discussed. And then I'm pretty much as pale as can be, so we'll go with light for our skin tone. Let's think about negative traits. Addictive personality. Yeah, kind of. Albino, no. No animals love me. Asthmatic, I do have some breathing problems. I'm not asthmatic, but it would be in my best interest to have an inhaler with me. Bad back, bad knees, bad temper. Well, I'd probably have a bad temper. Do I have bad back? You could argue I do, but we're not going to worry about that. Chemical imbalance, I do in fact have some chemical brain chemistry problems with my mental illness, which we're not going to go into details for, but we are going to give ourselves that negative trait. I am not clumsy, I am not deaf, well, I guess I'm disorganized. You're terrible at organizing and storing your possessions. Yeah. Farsighted, without reading glasses, you're unable to read anything. Nope, I am nearsighted. Fast metabolism, flimsy, forgetful, fragile, frail. Nope, nope, nope. Genetic downward spiral. Well, I'm not constantly mutating, to my knowledge, so we're going to ignore that. I am... Well, see, here's... So, tricky thing about heavy or light sleeper. I'm actually a very, very light sleeper. Like, any sound will wake me up. However, I'm currently on medication that aids in my ability to sleep. So, currently, with the medication I'm on, I'm a heavy sleeper. So do I put... I don't think we put that. I think we would give ourselves light sleeper, which apparently isn't a thing. But I think that because it's a product of my medication and not actually me as an individual, we're not going to go with heavy sleeper. High thirst, I'm thirsty all the time. Hoarder, yeah, kind of. Illiterate, no. Insomniac, yes. Without my medication, I am. Jittery, no. Junk food. Lactose intolerance, to a degree, I'm slightly lactose intolerant. Most people are, and it's not a big deal, and mine's pretty mild, but I guess we'll put it languorous. Languorous? I don't know. Whether due to lack of exercise or poor diet, or due to a natural disinclination to physical endurance, you tire due to physical exertion much more readily than others. Yeah, I would say at this point in my life, I would struggle to keep up with... Well, you know, when I was young, I could do just about anything. I could lift weight all day and not be a big deal. Nowadays, if I do that for 10 or 15 minutes, yeah, I'm pretty winded. It's pretty rough. You know, I did some landscaping a few years ago where I would go out and basically weed whack for like 6 straight hours. And that really, really just, between the fumes of the gasoline and the actual exertion of carrying a heavy, like, commercial... like, you know, one of the huge weed whackers that have a harness and all that stuff. Yeah, it was real hard on me. So I guess we'll go with that. Alcohol and drugs go straight to your head. Nope, I'm a heavyweight. I actually am very low impact when I drink alcohol. It doesn't really affect me. Mood swings, without my medication, a little bit. Not mood swings, wouldn't be the right. Yeah, because I suffer from very severe depression, and without my medication, I tend to hit really, really lows. So, narcoleptic, no. Nearsighted, yes. I have trouble seeing at a distance without glasses. Too adventurous, no. Pacifist. I mean, it's tough, right? Because pacifism implies an attitude towards violence, which I have. I don't believe that violence is the solution to really any problem. But if push came to shove, I will fight to the death if I have to. So I don't know if pacifist fits really. You feel more guilt about killing. Yeah, I guess that would apply to me. Pain sensitive, no, means nothing to me. Poor healer, poor hearing. Nah. Pyromaniac, only on the weekends. Rigid table manners. This is the one with eating at a table. No, it doesn't bother me at all. Savant, specialize in one skill. No, I am a jack of all trades. I suck at most everything. Schizophrenic, no, not quite. Sleepy. Again, I think as a product of my medication, I'm tired all of the time, but I don't think that I'm actually that way naturally. Slow-footed, no. Well, I do move slowly, but it's not that I can't move quick. I just am a slow why rush when we're all going to get to the same place anyway. Slow healer, probably. Slow learner, no. Slow reader, no. Squeamish, can't even think about putting filthy clothes on yourself. Nope, wouldn't bother me. Strong scent, I don't know. I don't smell particularly bad right now. We'll skip that one. Thin-skinned, no. Topograph-agnosia. Focal brain damage has rendered you incapable of recognizing landmarks and orienting yourself to your surroundings. Probably not. Probably would be aware if that happened to me. Trigger happy, no. Truth teller, yes. Ugly, no. Weak stomach, no. Wool allergy, no. Okay, so those are our negatives. There are a jillion of them. That's not great, but I'm willing to bet there are going to be quite a few positive ones as well. Animal empathy for sure. I've never met an animal that didn't like me, well, except for cats, because cats are terrible. But like dogs, horses, goats, sheep, etc., pigs, even a bull. There was a bull that, seemed to only like me out of everyone. But anyway, so probably animal empathy. Bookworm, probably. I enjoy reading very much. Cannibal, we're just gonna not talk about that. Deft, while you're not any better at melee, so it's one of those things where it's like, it's a kind of a running joke, like, oh, I would try it, but no, I'm not a cannibal, of course. Deft, better at recovering from a miss, probably not. Disease resistant, probably not. Well, I never do get the cold or flu. I get the flu like once every 6 years, so I guess that. I probably have a pretty good immune system, I would think, at this point. Because I live in my own filth? No. Drunken master, no. Fast learner, yes. Fast reader, yes. Fleet-footed, quicker than most. I mean, I am, but I generally don't move very quickly because I just don't want to. So, I'll just leave that alone. Good hearing, no. Good memory, yes. I have the best memory in the world. Not really. I mean, I have a very good memory, especially when it comes to important things. I just really remember everything. It's part of my mental illness is pretty severe PTSD, and my memory is partially responsible for that because I remember things in excruciating detail. Gourmand, you eat faster, can eat and drink more, you enjoy food more, food raises your morale. Yeah, I would say that applies to me. High adrenaline, no, I'm actually extremely calm to a fault, almost. Infection resistant, immune system particularly good at resisting infections. How would I know? Like, I guess I will just leave it alone. I don't think so. Less sleep, you need to sleep less than the average person. No, definitely need my sleepy time. A light eater, require less food than most. Nope, I eat a lot. I mean, I eat once a day, but I don't eat very much at all. But I don't think I'm a light eater. Light step, I do make very little noise when I move. Like I've noticed over the years that pretty much everyone around me makes so much noise, and I try. I mean, I don't think about it. I just don't make that much noise. Martial arts training, no, nothing significant. Masochist, it doesn't bring me play. No. Melee weapon training, yeah, but not anything. Not anything special. Not anything from that list. Night vision, I do have excellent night vision. Outdoorsman, no. Definitely not an optimist. Pack mule, no. Pain resistant, I do have a very high tolerance for pain. Parkour expert, no, that's definitely not me. Poison resistant, I don't know that anyone is poison resistant. Isn't poison like always? Well, it doesn't matter. Pretty, maybe a couple years ago, not really anymore. I just kind of look very generic at this point in my life. Quick, just generally quick. Nope, that's not me. Robust genetics, well, it affects mutation, but like honestly, I think I have really bad genes. Like our family has a lot of addiction issues and mental health issues and baldness and all kinds of stuff and obesity and heart disease, all kinds of stuff that are not good genetics. So we're going to leave that out. Self-aware, probably. Self-defense classes, again, I know some stuff, but none of the stuff that's listed. We'll just leave that alone. Shaolin adept, definitely did not study with Shaolin monks. I'm a terrible liar. Spiritual, not so much anymore. I have a belief system, but it's not any particular world religion, so I don't know that I'm particularly, well, whether driven by religious beliefs or philosophical interests, you find great inspiration in studying holy. Yeah, I don't care about studying the holy text. If you had said in like, conceptualizing, like thinking about existentialism and the concept of things that are greater than one individual and, mankind's place in the universe, that kind of stuff, then sure. But spiritual, no, I don't read holy texts. I don't subscribe to any particular religion at this point in my life. So, stimulant psychosis. You have a unique history with stimulants like coffee or amphetamines. You tolerate a lot more of them without overdosing, but if you indulge too much, you start seeing things. No, caffeine is like the only stimulant that I take in way more than the average human, but like I don't start seeing things or overdo it. I never take too much. Definitely don't have a strong back. I can definitely carry more than the average person, which is the effect of the trait. But as like an individual, I actually I don't have a bad back, but it's not good. So I don't think we're going to do that. Strong stomach. Yeah, I get sick like once every several years. I don't really struggle with eating things I shouldn't have eaten or food poisoning or anything like that. I can handle my liquor pretty well, that kind of stuff. Stylish, definitely not. You would probably describe me as grunge. I don't know if that's still a thing. Do people still... Basically, I dress trashy because I just don't care about being stylish, which isn't the definition of grunge, but growing up, that's kind of what people would call me. Substance tolerance, you handle intoxicants well. Assuming you mean alcohol, then yes, I handle that pretty well. I don't drink a lot, but when I do drink, I can drink a lot, and it doesn't bother me at all. Something about you that creatures find frightening, and they are more likely to try to flee. I think terrifying is a strong word. I do think I'm vaguely scary. Like, I think that if you and I were walking down a dark alley, you would probably be a little nervous. If you were walking with, like, your spouse or a kid or something, you'd probably sweep them behind you. People do that. I don't know. I don't think I'm a scary guy. I think I'm a really nice guy, but I have a real bad case of, like, resting bitch face, if you've ever heard that expression. Like, when my face is relaxed, I just look angry, and I think that frightens people. So I don't know if terrifying is the right word, but we'll go ahead and we'll click that anyway. Thick-skinned, who knows? No, this implies that you don't get cut very easily. I get little scratches and cuts on my hands from working and stuff like that. It happens, so probably not thick-skinned. Tough, takes a lot to bring you down. I imagine I'm mentally tough, but probably not as physically tough as I used to be. So we're not gonna. I'm pretty tough, but we'll leave that alone. Tough feet, definitely not. I hate walking barefoot. Weak scent. Your scent is quite weak. I don't think so. I think I'm like average smell. Is that a trait? Smells average. So we're going to jump over to stats. So let's think about this. Okay. So let's say that 10 is average human. Like I think these go up to what, 20? So let's say that like 3 is like okay, it only goes down to 4. So let's say 4 is the worst of the worst, like the worst human who has ever lived at this particular thing. Let's say 10 is average, 15 is like really good, and then like 20 is the pinnacle. So like for strength, 4 would be like the 80-year-old woman who weighs, 75 pounds, can't lift more than a cup of coffee, bare minimum human levels, virtually unable to do anything. Then 10 would be the average person. 15 would be like, a guy who maybe moves boxes. Maybe he works for a moving company. He's well above the average person in strength. He kind of knows how to handle it. And then 20 is Arnold Schwarzenegger winning Mr. Universe, the pinnacle of human achievement, right? So on that particular list, nowadays, like when I was a teenager, I was probably like a 14 or a 15. But nowadays, probably like a 12. Not as strong as I used to be. I kind of struggle when I'm lifting more than like 60 pounds. My back acts up sometimes. So I don't think I'm super strong. But I do think I'm stronger than the average person. So we'll go with 12. Dexterity. I'm not super dexterous. I'm not very good with my fingers, but at the same time, I think like I type like 120 words a minute, so I kind of feel like that requires a certain amount of dexterity. But when it comes to like small finite things, I'm actually really bad with that. Like if you had me, like some people make their own jewelry, that kind of stuff, I feel like that requires a lot of patience, and like you got to bend the metal just right and lace everything together and use special knots. I don't think I could do that. So I'm just going to leave this at 10 because I think I'm like right around average, maybe a 9, maybe not as good as the average person when it comes to dexterity. My coordination isn't super good, like catching things and stuff like that. I just feel like maybe I'm not the most dexterous individual. Intelligence, I don't want to sound like an asshole because I feel like people who talk about their intelligence are usually jerks. But if I'm being honest, I'm like, so if the average person is a 10 and like Stephen Hawking is a 20, I'm probably like a 16, I guess. Like if we went by IQ, which you should never go by IQ doesn't actually measure intelligence, I would probably be way up here. But if we go by actual practical intelligence, I'm probably like a 16 or a 17. It sounds so assholish to talk about it, but like most of the time when I walk in a room, I am the smartest person in the room. It's not meant to be, degrading or bad-mouthing people. It's just I have a very high capacity to learn things. I learn things very quickly, and I have a very broad knowledge base. Now, I'm not good at any one particular thing, but in general, on any given topic, I usually know more about the topic than other people do, and I usually know a lot of practical application for those things as well. So like we talked about before, I probably couldn't change my own alternator, but if you gave me a couple hours and like a book about it, I could probably figure it out. It would just take me a little while because it would be not something I'm interested in. It's a lot easier to learn when I'm interested in something. But I've discovered at this point in my life that I can basically learn to do anything. It's just a matter of forcing myself to do it because I'm lazy. So I do think I have extremely high intelligence. I'm sure most people who do the U challenge probably give themselves very high intelligence because everyone has that opinion of themselves. But I really do feel that my intelligence is far and away my best quality. Perception. Also going to be very high. I have, because of my PTSD and some of the stuff I've been through, I constantly analyze my surroundings as part of to feel safe. So like when I walk into a restaurant, I pay a lot of attention to who's sitting where the door is, where if I can seat myself in a position that allows me to see the door and possibly out the window to where my car is. Like, so I pay a lot of attention to that kind. That probably sounds crazy, but like, I'm very nervous about things because of my mental illness, and so I pay a ton of attention to people and places around me. So I feel like my perception is probably a lot high. I like to think of it as situational awareness. Being aware of what's going on around you is important. You know, any soldier will tell you how important it is to pay attention to your surroundings when you feel that you're in danger. And because of my mental illness, I feel in danger a lot. So probably like a 16 or a 15. It's not because it has, like, it's not a flattering thing to say. It's just as part of my particular problems, I pay tons and tons of attention to my surroundings. So probably very high as well. Man, that all sounds not so good. But we're going to skip ahead to skills. We did get the +1 to tailoring from being an otaku, which is fine. I have more than a 1 in tailoring. So how high do these go? 1 to 10. So let's say 1, or let's say 0 is you've literally never done it before. And then 1 is like you kind of know what you're doing. And then like 4 is like you've done a lot of it. And like 7 is you do it professionally. And then 10 is like you've done it professionally for 20 plus years, right? So let's go with, let's talk, so we'll start with tailoring. So like 0 is you've never picked up a needle and thread, you've never used a sewing machine. 3 is like you could probably do a lot of stuff. You could probably sew most of the stuff you would do around the house, you know, fix a pair of socks, take in a, you know, hem a dress, you know, whatever. 5 and 6 is like you do it, you know, kind of on the level of a professional. Maybe you know what darts are, you know how to do something completely from scratch. You maybe work in that industry. And then 10 is the woman who, you know, has spent the last 20 years making high fashion designs. I don't know. We'll just play it a little loose. So my tailoring is probably like a 3. I learned to sew when I was in school. We used sewing machines. We used hand stitching. I could stitch a lot of things. I probably couldn't make most things from scratch, but if it was like a pillow or, you know, fixing a pair of socks, I could probably do that. But if you asked me to, you know, make a dress from scratch, I don't think I could do that. So let's go up to archery. Literally, like, one time I shot a bow. So 2, okay, so 2 would mean, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, that's weird. So we'll just bump that up once. Like, I'm not good at it. It was fun, but I don't think I could do it. I don't really have the strength, I think, for a heavy draw bow. Not my forte. Bare minimum. Like, I know enough to fire one, you know, to fire a compound bow, but that's probably about the extent of I wouldn't expect me to hit anything. Bartering, I'm not good at bartering. I'm just going to leave it at 0. I'm not good at this. I don't enjoy bartering. Haggling, I think that haggling is like, is what, I don't even want to talk about it. Is a 0. Let's just leave it at 0. Bashing weapons, I don't know how to tag the weapon ones. I guess like a 2. I know how to swing a baseball bat. I mean, I'm not super skilled, you know? Computers, probably like a 6 or a 5. 5. I know more than the average person. I could probably do some things at a professional level. Yeah, probably pretty good. Cooking, also like a 4 or 5. Probably not something I could do at a professional level, but I'm an excellent cook. I just don't do it very often because honestly, cooking is like a time investment versus really the only thing I get out of it is like the satisfaction of cooking something, which I enjoy occasionally, but for the most part, I don't want to cook. I'd rather just eat something that takes 2 minutes in a microwave to eat. It's just so much easier, saves me a lot of time, but every now and then I'll cook something, and I'm pretty good at it. Cutting weapons, I'm going to go same thing. We're just going to call that a 3. I know my way around a knife. I could protect myself if I had to, but certainly not trained with it. Dodging, probably 0. I've never had to dodge anything. I'm not particularly acrobatic, and although I can move quickly, I usually don't. So driving, probably like like a 7 or 8. Like I drive for a living at this point in my life. I'm not kidding at all. I probably drive better backwards than a lot of people drive forwards. Yeah, like, been doing it for a long time. I'm an excellent driver. Like I said, I drive excellent in reverse. I know exactly where the boundaries of the car are at all times. I'm an excellent driver. Probably an 8 or 9, I would say. Electronics. I'm assuming that this refers to actual hardware, like circuit boards and things. I'm gonna go with like a 1. We're gonna keep it at 0 actually, because like I took a class. I had tech classes when I was in school. Never liked them. Didn't retain any of that information. I don't know anything about electronics. Fab, really bad at making things by hand. We're gonna make that like a 1. I could make some stuff if I had to, jury rig some things or whatever they call it, jerry rig some stuff. It's not my forte. First aid, probably like 4 or 5, some mild amount of training with that. I'm probably no more than the average person, probably pretty good at it. Probably couldn't work. Well, that's not true. If I had any amount of training, like if they gave me like a week course of how to be an EMT, which I'm not trying to disparage EMTs. Obviously, it's a lot of skill required and things, but like I do think I could do something like that at my current skill level without too much instruction. So pretty high. Handguns, not super great. I haven't really fired handguns that much. I could probably hit something. Like I know enough of gun safety to load it, fire it, make sure the safety is on or off. But not really good with the marksmanship on a handgun. Launchers 0. Who launches things in civilian life? Overall skill in bows and firearms. In general, pretty okay with rifles and shotguns, but not any of the other things. Not archery or none of the other guns really, just the rifles and shotguns. But I'm a pretty good shot with those 2 things. Mechanics is like a 2. Like I can change a tire, I can change my oil, I can do basic maintenance, change car batteries, things like that. But if you asked me to weld a bunch of frames together and cobble a vehicle together from scratch, yeah, can't do that. Can't even change my own alternator. So, not great. Melee, again, very small amount of training, just enough to get by, really. Piercing weapons would be 0, I guess, unless knives. Oh, it does count knives, even though I would count knives as cutting weapons. We'll bump it up just because of the knife, my familiarity with knives. Rifles, probably like a 4 or 5. Probably the best that I am with firearms is with rifles. Shotguns, similarly skilled, but less so. I haven't had a lot of experience with firearms, but I was good when I did use them. Speaking, very high. Well, that's not true. Used to be very high. Nowadays, I struggle a lot with my speech because I spent so long isolated from society. So my speaking is probably not very good. I'm sure you've noticed over the course of this episode. Submachine guns, no experience at all, of course. Survival, I'm just going to leave it at 0. I'm not an outdoorsy type. I probably know a lot of things about survival that maybe the average person doesn't know. But when you compare me to anyone who's an outdoorsy type person, I'm a 0. I don't have the experience. I have some of the knowledge, but I don't have the experience. Swimming, like a 1. Like I can do it, but only in the most desperate of circumstances. I am not good at it. Have almost drowned when I was a boy, and it kind of put a real negative view for me on swimming. So I try to avoid the water as much as I can. Throwing, how do you measure throwing? Like a 3, I guess. Trapping, 0, and unarmed combat. Probably like a 4. Pretty good, actually. In a stand-up fight, when it comes to grappling and wrestling, I'm actually terrible. But like, when it comes to a stand-up boxing style fight, then yeah, I'm probably better than the average person, like considerably better than the average person, but probably would still get my ass handed to me by anyone who boxes more than once, every couple weeks or whatever. So, okay, but not great. And that's going to do it, I guess. Not great. I don't even know what to say about this. It was a weird experience trying to pin down where I sit in things. Some of these are very abstract. It's like, how good are you with bashing weapons? Well, who knows? Like, I've never used a bashing weapon to attack an individual, so I don't really know where I stand with that, I guess. So what we're going to do, we're going to exclamation point. We're going to save this template so that may not use special characters. I assume that means the exclamation point. So we'll just put our name in there. And we'll square that away so that we can possibly play this character at some point in the future. For now, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Maybe we'll play this character sometime and see how we do. Although, let's be real, at this point, I have way better stats than the average Cataclysm starter character. So I don't even know if it would be fun to play this character because we'd already be good at basically everything. So I don't know that we're ever going to do that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will be back with more Cataclysm in the future.